It's the Machine of Nonsense, episode 82, and we're talking showcases. We absorbed all of Summer of Gaming 2022. There's no more. We saw it all, and we're here to talk about it. I'm your host, Eric, joined as always by Kayla.
Hey, what's up?
And we've got Indie Man himself. I was gonna do an Indiana Jones thing, and I don't know.
Showcase Indiana.
Yes, there you go. Yeah, I know you're Mr. Indie Games, so Michael Nelson,
yeah.
everybody, he's here.
Yes, show us your cases, pillowcases, unsolved crime cases. We want to see them.
Oh,
That'd be better than what Keeley showed us. All right.
Oh no! I guess we will get to that. Jeff Keighley's Summer Game Fest. That's what it's called. So many names of all these showcases. We'll get to those in just a second, but let's catch up on what we've been up to. Kayla and I have been playing the hottest games of 2007 and 2009. That's right, Halo 3 and Halo 3 ODST.
You guys
blew
are
through
deep
those.
in.
We blew through them after watching the Halo show on Paramount Plus. We are deep in Halo lore. We know all of it now.
Spartans, true and true. Holy shit!
Yeah, we're part of the Spartan program. Kayla, you really dug the show.
I did. I thoroughly enjoyed the show.
Really? Okay.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's short. It's like 8 episodes.
Yeah, I think it might have been 9. Yeah, 8 or 9. Yeah.
Episodes. But I liked it.
Is it a lot of action? Is it a lot of intrigue? I don't know. Like
There's a fair amount of action, but there's also a lot of it seems like setting stuff up and exploring the Spartan program and the UNSC and such.
I don't know how much the games touch on any of this stuff. I know it's not exactly a one-to-one. Like they said, this is kind of its own universe in a sense, but there's a lot of they go into kind of the origin of Master Chief and the program that created the Spartans and everything else. And there's kind of a cool mystery there that isn't quite 100% solved by the end of season 1. And a bunch of shooting up, you know.
Oh, good. Can I ask you guys a question about it?
Sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Does the chief get some? Does he? I heard rumors that he gets down and dirty.
Well, they don't show nothing.
No? Oh, okay.
You get to see his
Twitter live sometimes.
His Spartan butt, right? The little Spartan butt.
Oh, we saw some butt. All right.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
There's
there is a romantic tie with Mr. John Spartan. Yes.
It's not Cortana.
What did she say? Their serotonin levels are the same.
Yes. There's an interesting they haven't really touched on it in the games that I think. I don't know, maybe I'm just not catching it, but he's very special in the show, Master Chief. Aside from being a super soldier and all that, he has special aspects to him. He's mystical.
Mad leadership skills, man.
Yeah, sure. But so there's something mystical about him, and then there's another character that they kind of introduce who also has some mystical aspects, and maybe they hit it off a little bit too much. So. It was cool. The CGI was pretty good. I enjoyed that. I could kind of see the budget in it.
Yeah, it looks nice.
I saw that before it came out.
Yeah.
And that's on Paramount?
That's on Paramount, yeah. And I found it an easy watch. I found it,
Yeah. By no means is it super fantastic, but it's very easily enjoyable.
Yeah.
I hope the Mass Effect show can get a budget, whatever the Halo stuff has. I don't know. We'll see.
That would be fun. I'd be into that.
How about you, Mike? What you been up to?
Man, finished 2 really great shows, both on HBO, Barry and season 3, and Staircase, which was a mini-series event kind of thing about true crime event. And man, love both of them. Barry's like, I was. It took me a while to get back into the seat of Barry and what this season's got going on. And once I did, it's just like wow. Like there's no show like it. Bill Hader's just a great TV show like creator, like maker. Like he directs a lot of it. He's the kind of the main mastermind behind the whole show. The whole show. He stars in it. But I mean, this season is really like the Gene Cousineau and Sally kind of hour, and Fuchs as well, more so than Barry at times.
Wow.
And it's really great stuff. Staircase, great Tony Collette stuff, great Colin Firth. Michael Stuhlbarg as well is great. Can't say enough great things about HBO in general right now. Hacks is really good too. And saw Everything Everywhere All at Once, finally. It's on VOD, $20. Really enjoyed that. Made me like, man, this is the multiverse of madness right here.
Right.
This is like, I don't know. Both of those movies were like, that movie was playing in my mind, like, because there's really scenes that match up together with it, like certain introductions of characters and things.
The fanny pack, right? It's so good.
Yes, yeah.
Oh.
I'm sure that'll come up at the end of the year. All that stuff I mentioned, I think, will at certain times. And I finished a game. I finished Kirby and the Forgotten Lands. Shout out to the Ortegas.
Yeah.
Kirby Bros. Man, just a really fun game. I think it's the type of game that could show up at the Wholesome Game Fest. I get it now with Kirby. It's really the first Kirby game I've sunk a lot of time into, and I picked a good one to dive in because this one was really fun. It's first one in 3D. Really reminds me a lot of Mario 3D World.
Great
the way
game.
the levels are set up, the way the way you find secrets in the levels, and just a lot of charm, a lot of fun.
How much of it did you play like co-op? I know it's got like a co-op option.
Very little of it.
Oh, okay.
Not a great co-op mode. If you are the second player, you are not Kirby. You are not having fun. You're just like a bland Waddle Dee with a spear kind of character. You're not getting any of the cool abilities, which really, the game and its puzzles and everything are really tied to that stuff. So you are really just kind of like a sidekick in the truest sense. Like you're not like really participating. You're killing stuff, which there's never a need. I played on it's called Wildfire mode. There's either that or Spring Breeze, and it was fine. It wasn't like super tough, but it's nice to have the Spring Breeze for newcomers though. It's nice.
Nice. Yeah, I've never played. I played a little bit of Kirby for the NES. What Kirby's
Same.
Dream World, Dreamland, whatever.
Kirby's Adventure was the first one.
Okay. Yeah. That's about it. That never really got into any Kirby. Couldn't play him on Smash Brothers. You know, not. Good,
I remember
but...
seeing because it's like the best looking NES. Like it's a late NES game. It's like '94 or something like that. It looks great, and I remember like whoa, like first time playing it when I was little, it really blew me away. Just on the way it looked. It looked like a animated series or a coloring book or something at the time.
Yeah, you love those late generation games that just like fully take advantage of everything that a system can do.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Know, like The Last of Us, maybe. Maybe that might come up later.
Oh gosh.
Oh boy, yeah. I think we'll check out Kirby. Maybe. I'll play co-op, Kayla. You can.
I got
be Kirby.
the card if you guys want to.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we could just slap that in the old Switch.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But,
It's cool. I think you guys will really like it. It's awesome.
Nice. Yeah, we could use a nice little platformer kind of game right now. Not a lot of platforming in Halo, thankfully. Speaking of video games, though, we watched a lot of showcases. If you've been listening to the recent episodes of the podcast, we were making predictions all about what we'd see on Summer Game Fest, IGN Expo, Xbox and Bethesda Showcase. There are a bunch of other ones. Devolver Digital, Capcom threw a showcase out there. Who else? Who am I forgetting? Like 5 other ones. PC Gamer threw out a PC gaming showcase. There's more than that, but I'm not going to just name them all. Overall, seeing the kind of depth of everything that we have coming, we got a lot of claims of stuff coming up still this year. It had seemed like it was a kind of a barren wasteland of a year from now until the end. A lot of promises made during these showcases. How do we feel now, looking at the list and what's come out? How do we feel about what's coming in the next 6 months of the year? Do we feel good? Do we feel like we're getting enough games coming out?
If I would have got a date at the end of a certain trailer, I could have set up my game of the year probably. But we finally did get to see Hollow Knight, and that's promised within the next 12 months. That didn't say that at all after the trailer, but it was still nice to see it. Definitely pop for that one. I don't know. Do we have a lot of dates for this year? Is that Justin Roiland game coming out this year?
Yeah, that's October. High on Life. Yeah.
That seems cool. We got a date for Scorn.
I just want to say, both of those that you just mentioned, High on Life and Scorn, I don't know, they make me a little queasy. Scorn, obviously, but I don't know, High on Life just seems like they committed so hard to that look and that theme.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
And
I like it.
I don't not like it, but it's just like I need to take a breath.
That game is from the mind of the Rick and Morty guys or whatever, and the whole concept is your weapons are like living guns. They talk back to you and they talk smack to the enemy, and they're like wacky Rick and Morty type stuff. And
they're Gatlians. An alien race called Gatlians.
Okay. I saw you message that earlier, and I had no idea what you were talking about, but now it makes sense. It totally reminded me of Oddworld: Stranger's Wrath, which had this living ammo, like the chip punk. It was like this little chipmunk that you would shoot out, or all the ammo was like living actual things. That mixed with that dude's sense of humor works for me. It made me start catching up on Rick and Morty lately.
I would do that again. I would watch that again. Maybe when we're done with Bob's Burgers, we'll move on to Rick and Morty.
It's really good.
Yeah, so good. So before we really dive deep into the games that stood out, what did we think of? So there were 3 super kind of hyped main showcases, and then a bunch of maybe smaller ones. So we had Summer Game Fest, that's Jeff Keighley's kind of E3 alternative. Then there was the IGN Expo the next day, and then 2 days later, we got the Xbox and Bethesda showcase. Those were kind of the big ones where we saw the most games. All of them, each of those showcases showed at least 24 trailers a piece, at minimum. And we got a lot of release dates and things of that nature. A lot of new information. Depending on what we're talking about, which games. Who had the best showing? Would you say? You can start it off, Kayla. Which one did you enjoy the best?
Xbox and Bethesda, easy.
Man, Sony really came correct, and Xbox both did. Sony had a nice short little thing. Xbox had a really long conference. They kind of lost me in the middle at times, but started and finished really strong. Showed a lot of great stuff. Even watching some of these smaller things, I think Devolver had a really good show. But I think they only showed a very small amount, and everything looked really cool from them. They do a good show every year. But it's got to go to Xbox. Starfield looked good. It I think it promised on, having all the hype. It lives up to the hype.
For me, the setup of it too, like Sony was nice too because it's just straight trailers, really. The state of play.
Yeah.
But Xbox had, a little bit of talkie, a little bit of information. Hey, we're giving you, these are going to be available on Game Pass, or these are games that are coming out in the next 12 months. I liked that.
Do you trust them? Do you trust the folks at Microsoft?
I can understand that things don't work out always as you intend them to, but this is the plan. This is what you get. This is when it's available. Obviously, some of the dates are just 2023.
Ton of 2023 from their show. Ton of just a year and nothing else. No month, nothing. Made me a little shaky about a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, it's a bold proclamation. Like, everything we're going to show you is in the next 12 months, but I don't think they would have done it if they didn't mean it, if they didn't really feel that it was going to come in the next 12 months, because they left off, there were a lot of things we didn't see. We did not see, the Indiana Jones game. We didn't see,
so
Perfect
much
Dark.
Avowed, Perfect Dark, yeah.
Avowed. We didn't
They held
see
back a lot. Yeah.
They did,
Yeah.
and I think the reason being is okay, we're going to hold back things we don't feel confident that we can get in 12 months. We're not going to overpromise on all of this other stuff.
They did, though. I think they overpromised with that.
We'll
Didn't
see.
they do the same thing last year? Didn't they say something pretty, so much of that stuff we haven't
Hopefully
seen.
they can
I
stick
don't
to
know.
it, but I just think that that's a real solid template for your show. Give me some guidelines, and it was trailer now available on Game Pass, or not now, but and then boom, Game Pass release date next, Game Pass release date next, and a little bit of talkie, a little bit, and then boom, back into it. It didn't lose me. I was vibing right along.
Yeah,
I love seeing Phil come out, Phil Spencer. Seeing God Howard come out there, in the leather jacket.
Little cameo from Hideo.
Right, yeah. Seeing Phil introduce Kojima was cool, even though that's not a 12-month game, but so what?
They
I'm
didn't
eager to see
mention
what that is.
that was literally just hey, we're doing a game with this guy.
Yeah, he literally had nothing else but a high. What we thought Keeley was gonna get that, And
Yeah.
if Keeley could have landed that, maybe we're talking differently about the fest. It's a little more hype, but he
Well.
couldn't even get his best friend to fucking and maybe that is due to just legal agreements with Xbox or something like that. But man, Game Fest though, just to switch up gears a little bit, man, because that was longer than an hour and a half, right?
It was at least
2
an hour and a
hours.
half, and then maybe a little more. Yeah.
He had nothing on the level of anything Xbox had really for me. Xbox's biggest stuff. Xbox was throwing haymakers left and right. They started with Redfall, and then I think Silksong was right after, and then
Yeah.
you get to see Team Ninja's new game, then Kojima right after, in the middle, and ended with Starfield. So many games, and too many. We can go and list more, but yeah, the Game Fest just a lot of sci-fi shooters, not a lot of gameplay.
Space.
Xbox had a lot of gameplay. Their biggest announcement wound up getting leaked early in the day. I didn't catch that, but
they did.
I did.
the biggest thing for me was the Turtles announcement, the 6-player co-op with Casey Jones joining the cast. And the date, that comes out tomorrow. I downloaded it already. I'm playing it tomorrow.
Nice.
So
yeah, we talked about it last year actually, because we covered Summer Game Fest last year, and we said this is his first go at this, putting something like this really together. That isn't the Game Awards, and we said he's gonna learn from his mistakes. He had too many little celebrity cameos in the first one. He had too much talking, not enough quick movement, not enough gameplay, and and stuff like that. Not enough release dates, and then it was kind of the same again. In a lot of ways.
I don't want The Rock being pissed off that he has to take 5 minutes out of his workout from his personal gym to shoot this video that he does not give a fuck about, to appear on, to do some marketing for his movie.
He was talky too. He said so many
was
words
so
that did
long.
not need to be said. Get to the
God,
point.
yeah.
This could have been a 10-second thing. Trailer. Boom. This doesn't even have anything to do with games either.
Well, he's in Fortnite.
Okay, that's not what
He's
he
the
was there for,
foundation.
though.
Okay.
That just makes you like, he's Miyamoto now. He can just come out whenever he wants. He doesn't have to be.
Yeah, I actually thought that the IGN Expo was. It didn't have maybe as many games. It was a lot of indie stuff. It was a lot of stuff I had never heard of, or maybe wasn't as interested in. But the pace of it was literally like, it was actually too fast. Honestly, I was having trouble like writing down the what consoles the games were coming to, or like when the release dates were. But they were just, it's like, okay, gameplay trailer, 1 minute long. Here's a little gameplay. Here's a little this. On to the next. And they had it sectioned off in such a way where it was kind of like similar games all together. Yeah, it was like, okay, here's the roguelite section. Here's the deck building section. Yeah, your point and click adventures. There was a bunch of, here's your first person shooters, and it was in quick succession like that. Where it was a lot like the Xbox and Bethesda. I wish Keighley's show, because there was actually more in the Summer Game Fest games wise that I liked, that I kind of vibed with, but just the pace was just all off. I mean, I wish somehow they could have they were doing all this co-marketing and stuff, IGN and Keighley and stuff. Just make it one thing, make it really concise.
Blend the two, and it would have been perfect.
Right.
Really.
I agree with that. Really make one good show than two medium ones or bad
Exactly.
ones.
Exactly. Yeah. That's how I felt.
Too fast, though. I definitely didn't realize I was watching two separate games at times.
Yeah, especially when they put like similar genres or like similar art styles together. It was like, oh, they almost blended into each other at points. What's Coral Island and what's Roots of Pacha? Are those two different games, or I don't know. Let's get to some games, some actual things. We mentioned at the top High on Life and Scorn, both coming in October. Both coming to Game Pass. Those were part of the Xbox and Bethesda. I had those both marked down in my handy-dandy spreadsheet here. Big fan. Scorn has no dialogue. That came out as part of some of the there's no talkies in Scorn. It's all environmental stuff. Weird, gross environmental stuff.
Yeah. Oh.
Give me that FromSoft style.
Sounds so slimy. I can hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one looks gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. And you mentioned also, Mike, like tomorrow, TMNT Shredder's Revenge. I had that one on my spreadsheet too. So that's June 16th. We're recording on the 15th. 6-player co-op. Casey Jones was the final, playable character announced, and it's got, it's going to have limited crossplay. I forget the details of what that exactly was going to be, but it will have combo co-op. So it's going to have, you can play split screen on, one system, as well as people online jumping in for a combo co-op. So I forget which console. I think it's PlayStation right now is not part of the crossplay. I'm pretty sure, because it's coming to like everything. But
they don't play nice.
Yeah, but it's just gonna be hella fun. It just looks like 6 players looks super chaotic, but I'm here for it.
Yeah, and early reviews have been coming out. People are beaming about it. They love it. It's, supposed to capture those classic Turtles beat 'em ups perfectly. So And just the stuff they're saying about the animations, like April's win animation at the end of a level is like she just drops the microphone
Oh,
and
that's
shit like
fun.
that. And uh, I'm all up for that.
Yeah, those arcade beat 'em ups. I was having the conversation with Kayla. That's what got me into video games. I think I remember
Yeah.
like just going to arcades and stuff, not even playing most of the time, just like being at a arcade and seeing all these awesome cabinets and stuff, and turtles among them, like Turtles in Time and stuff like that. Like just it made me fall in love with video games as a kid. So yeah, this one's real exciting. What do you got
What was your
on your
favorite thing,
list?
Kayla?
My favorite thing?
Yeah, that you saw.
Silksong. But if I had to
Oh,
pick
nice.
something for this year, I would say the Callisto Protocol. Like something that we got a date for and will come out by this year.
That was the highlight of Keely's thing. They showed some gameplay of that, and
Hmm
it looked very Dead Space, but I mean that in the best way. It looked to that
I
same
have,
quality.
yeah, I did never played Dead Space, so it'll be, no comparison. I'm into it. It looks
Just
cool.
the whole HUDless kind of, everything is
Mhm.
on the character. There's no
Mhm.
things on the screen, very clean, but creepy space vibes. And
Environmental. Mhm.
yeah, that looks really good. I can't wait to play that later. Um, they showed at the very end of that Aliens. Can't
Dark
remember
Descent.
the. Yes, yeah. It showed a really quick gameplay, like 3 seconds.
Yeah.
It was isometric, squad huddled together, looked so Helldivers, and I think that would be the perfect Alien game. Uh, would be with that style of game, that the friendly fire, having to coordinate and stuff like that, dropping, ammo drops down and everything. I hope that's what that game is, but they didn't really talk. It was a lot of, here's this game. We're gonna
It's a
show you
cinematic.
a second of it. Yeah, a lot of,
That
even
got me. It got me though, because it was a whole 5 minute. It seemed like it was a long cinematic part of it. We you didn't really know anything about the gameplay, and then like you said, it's just 3 seconds that it kind of like
so
takes you
quick.
out. Like, wait, what? Which I'm fine with that. It reminds me of that the Ascent that we
Right,
played,
right.
which I really
Yeah.
enjoyed. It could have it definitely has areas to improve, but I enjoyed it, and if that does it, yeah, I'm here for it.
Yeah, when that one came on, I wrote Aliens: The Ascent because it's Dark Descent, but like I was like, yeah, it looked like The Ascent. But yeah, Helldivers too. I mean, very similar situation. The cool thing about Helldivers, like you mentioned, was the team killing and stuff like that. That was always a lot of fun. So
Yeah, it's a lot of, what the hell, you fuck, guy, you got me, like.
and that fits in like the Alien universe too, because
Right.
there's a lot of that, especially in like Aliens, the second
Yeah,
movie, when
yeah.
shit's going wrong, everyone's
Right.
shooting each other and stuff. So it fits really well.
I hope it's held. Just, man, that'd be great. Perfect franchise melding with gameplay stuff.
I
Uh,
um I also mentioned Silksong, eh, and I want to talk about it a little bit because I feel
yeah,
like
let's do it.
that trailer was perfect. I mean, it was quick, but it showed so much stuff. It showed like different attacks and gameplay and enemies. I loved it. I was like, "Oh, look at that attack. Oh, look at that. Ooh."
Yeah,
They used the needle thread.
right. It really showed us, instead of like in Hollow Knight 1, you're kind of getting powers, and in this, I think you're going to be getting like equipment, like
Moves.
definitely more Metroid style of like, okay, you have these, maybe the like spike traps, and now you have a,
Ooh.
a grappling thing. I think that's how
Oh.
the progression's going to work. With that, you're going to get,
Hopefully it's a
shows like
mix.
grenades and shit at one point. And
Yeah, it really differentiated kind of the movement,
it
how
looks
how
so
different
fast.
like the character was. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, and
It
I
was
think that's why
just
it's taken so long. They want to get Hornet to feel right, and this trailer looked like a lot of fun to play as Hornet right off the bat. Because Hollow Knight 1 is kind of slow. when you
Mhm.
start off, and then you start getting new abilities. You get dashes, you get double jumps, you get a fucking just fly forever move at one point, and at that it just feels great at that. But you got to get there. This might be better onboarding in this one, I hope.
How about you,
Um,
Mike?
some things that popped out at me from Xbox were that game. Did you guys remember that game Ravenlock? Did that pop out? It was like
Uh,
Pixel.
certain monsters, yeah, were very pixelated, boss fights and things like that. But the other world looked like an Unreal Engine kind of style game, and it melded together really well. The two styles that
Yeah,
kind
like the
of
character model wasn't pixelated, but a lot of like the enemies were, and
yeah,
just like that mix was real weird.
yeah. I guess it's voxels, like a 3D pixel, uh, and
mm,
it looked really striking, really great.
mhm,
Planet for Lana, which they debuted last year. It's like this. It looks like a Limbo style game. A
Hmm.
little girl and like her cat monkey thing is following her.
Oh
Um,
wow,
it's really
might have completely missed
colorful.
that one.
Really looks so beautiful. In the background, there's like these big walking like spherical mechs in the background and stuff, and it shows that you're getting closer and closer to these things. And the main character's got like blue hair and shit. It just looks really cool. Um, and last year was just like a cinematic trailer. I went back and watched it. This was like full like gameplay
mm.
trailer this year.
Nice.
Got to check that out. I think we completely missed that one. I don't know.
Vaguely am picturing it, I think.
So many, you know.
Man, I really like. Of course, I love seeing Silksong. Um, I went back and watched the Wholesome Direct and Devolver show, and there was some just really cool stuff that like. If it was like a shadow drop, I would have bought it right away. And
Hmm.
Shim,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
which was at the Wholesome Direct, which was a really great show. Mary Kish was one of the hosts of that, and it was really rapid too, like IGN's, I think, and showed so many games, so many, um, a lot of Stardew likes, a lot of Animal Crossing likes. But Shim is like, it's very monochromatic, like streets, like busy streets that's going on, and you can jump from shadow to shadow of things, and that's how you progress through the levels. And like if you inhabit the shadow of a garbage truck, that garbage truck can then drive you to the next spot, and then you're jumping onto the shadow of a street sign and then onto someone's backpack, like, and it looks so cool. Um,
Yeah, it's based on some kind of like Norwegian like lore or something, right? Or was it were they
I didn't see that.
Dutch? Netherlands? The
Netherlands.
developers in the trailer we
Oh,
watched,
okay.
the developers did a little like, oh, we're the developers
Ah,
of Shim,
yeah,
and I think they're from the Netherlands, and they were like, the Shim is like a shadow creature in our mythology or something, but it's like a little frog, a little shadow frog. Real
right,
cool though.
right.
Like the trailer was awesome. It looked like you said, the colors were really cool, and just like moving around based on other like elements that are moving, kind of like you're not really controlling it as much. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I think people have considered it like a Frogger like of having to like maneuver from shadow to shadow.
Yeah.
It felt Frogger like, yeah, especially with the cars and stuff that you were kind of navigating. Yeah.
Another one that it might be my game of the show. Like everything is Plucky Squire. That game
Mm.
Mm.
looks so cool. So this game, you're like on a 2D landscape, and it looks like an unbelievably coloring book, like Crayola style, a little adventure that you're going on. Um, was it like a Zelda-ish kind of thing? I
Sure.
think, and then it shows the character pop out of the storybook, and you're walking around Andy's room basically from Toy Story, and you're
Mm-hmm.
able to interact with everything in the room. You can kind of become 2D on certain objects, like it shows it like on the side of a mug at one point, kind of Mario Odyssey style with the 2D sections in that. And just give me that. That looked fantastic. My sort of game. Like,
Yeah, it gave me a lot of like It Takes Two vibes
Yeah.
oh,
too.
okay.
You're a miniature in the land of large, and you just are trying to get to the other side.
I think like the trailer was probably the most surprising trailer probably that I watched, because like it starts off like you said, it's like you're in this book, this like fairy tale book or whatever else. And I was like, okay, cool. Like you're and they it seems like that's what the game is gonna be. Like, oh, you're just going through these pages to pages and whatnot. And then when it, like you said, when it like jumped out, I was like, wow, this is completely different than the first half of this trailer and what I thought this was. And like so much bigger, like so much like this game looks like it's got a lot of systems, a lot of like different environments and stuff. And just, yeah, I was like, wow, that's impressive.
One more from Wholesome was Paper Trail that stood out to me. And this is like a puzzle game where so you play as like a young girl in this game, it seems, and like you're in it looks like another kind of storybook kind of presentation. And like let's say you're in a cave and there's like a chasm in between your entrance and the exit. So it shows you like literally folding the page to like match up a new path for yourself. And it's just a lot of puzzles like that, and it looks really great. And if that's like a nice short kind of experience that you don't really have to bang your head around, you're just kind of like taking your time, another wholesome, cozy game. The show had a lot of them like this. It looked really good.
Yeah, I think me and Kayla both like looked at each other and were like, man, this seems like tough. Like the person playing it or whatever in the trailer knew exactly like how to fold the pages. Yeah. So I was like, and it worked really well. It looked really cool, but we were both like, what is going on here?
How did they know to fold it like that?
Exactly. Like, yeah, how did they do that? But it was cool. I mean, it was just impressive, really. Like, so maybe like
points of interaction the pages are going to have. Like, I don't know how that's going to work. Like, maybe if you just find the right spot to click, I don't know. But
yeah. It seemed like in the trailer they always picked the like right spot, and it was cool. Like visually, it looked great, but it was like I wouldn't have picked that. I wouldn't have known how to do like fold that exactly perfectly, because it wasn't just like folded in half. It was like fold just this corner over, and it creates a bridge. Of course, like what?
Cool. I'm not sure where it came from because you sent us a bunch of videos. I liked the Cult of the Lamb.
That was at Devolver.
That looked so cute.
I know. And like it starts as like, oh, this is like Animal Crossing characters, and like then you notice like, oh, they're all wearing the same outfits and they got these weird symbols on them, and there's like, okay, there's clearly a leader here.
This thing is called the Cult of the Lamb.
You're in this weird animal cult led by the lamb, and you're like just developing like a commune for Satan, I guess, or something. There's like weird seances that you're summoning these demons that come out of nowhere that you have to fight, and it looks like a mix of dungeon-y kind of stuff and farming stuff, very Stardew. There was a ton of these games, and Cult of the Lamb was the one that jumped out at me that I would want to play.
It was like Stardew Valley and Binding of Isaac kind of had a weird baby, right? Like
right. That one was really cool. Another one at Devolver was Skate Story, which looks so cool. It just you play as a demon who is Eric,
made of glass and pain. Yes,
and he must skate.
He must skate,
and it just sets a tone, and you're just kind of skating through the underworld. Your character's made of glass, of course. When you do bail out, you shatter, and it looks kind of linear. Like your skate lines are just kind of like it's just like a nice easy vibing game. Yeah, like a great put on some tunes and just tune out, vibe out, and I immediately thought of Eric when I saw it. I was like, yeah, I think that I wanted to play it too as soon as I saw it.
It was nuts. I didn't understand how it could be so like vibrant. Just like the color scheme and everything was just so weird, like just so bizarre but awesome. Just it's one of those things like I haven't seen something like this before. Like how it reflected and everything else and then just like throw some skateboarding in there. Hell yeah, I'm sold. Real cool.
one more small one I forgot from Wholesome was a game called Melatonin, which I
Speaking
think
of
this ended the
vibes.
show on, and this just looks so cool. It's like a mixture of Rhythm Heaven games and like WarioWare and stuff. It's just a lot of like tapping along to different, doing these like kind of menial tasks, but having to do them to a beat. Like there's also a baseball version of a mini game of when to hit the ball. There's like I think there's when you're trying to play an instrument and stuff like that, and the art style looked so good. I like kind of like New Yorker magazine, like
Mm.
kind of style of that of like sophisticated comics in a way. Yeah, if that makes sense. Um, that looked really cool. From all the small stuff that I saw. Um, what was something big that you really liked, Eric? That you loved?
Oh man, I was surprised with all how much small stuff I liked.
Oh, okay. All the small
Honestly,
things. Yeah.
yeah, really. But I guess I don't. Here's like a medium thing, and it actually comes out next month to Game Pass. As Dusk Falls. It was at the Xbox Bethesda showcase. It's a narrative adventure. Looks a lot like the
This was like the
maybe like your
motion
Quantic
comic.
Dreams. Yeah, but it's a motion comic. Yeah, exactly. The art style was just it's real weird. Like I can't really describe. It's like yeah, you put like an oil painting to movement in a lot of ways. Real like stilted movement and
Cut out
everything else.
comics,
Yeah. I mean, you got to see it to really get it. I think
like paper
um
dolls.
very much so. Yeah, like almost a stop motion kind of vibe to it, but I don't. But
Netflix had an
animation.
X-Men series that was looked very similar to the way that movie. It was like
Oh,
that's where the
really?
yeah, it was really good. But it was
I
like that still like just slight movements, panel to kind of thing. Not a lot of motion, but like a motion comic. And
gotcha. Yeah, it
yeah,
just gave me like vibes of like I love modern westerns. It looks like it's a modern western. It's like a heist kind of thing, bank robbery or something. But one thing I saw a little expanded little developer showcase that they did. Xbox did an expanded showcase a couple days later, like yesterday actually on Tuesday the 14th, and they showed a little bit more about it. You can play it 4-player because there's a lot of like choices, like your Quantic Dream type games and stuff like that.
wasn't
And
there like up to 8 player or something? Is
oh,
it only
maybe
4?
I saw 4 doing it. It might have
Oh,
been up to 8.
I think it's up to 8 because
Oh
I
wow.
remember watching MinMax's reaction and they were all like, "Wait, 8? How would that work? Like you all vote like on certain whatever
Yeah,
answer
I
you
think
want to
that's
give or."
so compelling to like vote
Mm.
for these decisions and stuff that are gonna affect the characters probably living and dying, or just things like that. I think that's real cool. It brings that element of like playing like Jackbox to it a little bit. But I feel like it could make a game that's like super serious into a lot of fun. Like maybe there might be even like replayability in that, because a lot of times in these games I've had a tough time like wanting to go back and make different decisions or something like that. This might do it, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. But I think it's like the perfect Game Pass game too. Just it'll probably be short enough, and yeah, that was kind of cool.
I just want to say my notes say weird comic mocap.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. I don't know how they
um,
captured those actors that way and how they what kind of filters they do. It is check it out. It looks really
yeah,
cool.
it's so hard to describe. Like I don't know. I guess I gotta watch that X-Men show.
Speaking of something with like a really striking look, what did you guys think of that Pentiment game from Obsidian? It's like a
Looks
history
interesting.
advent
Hmm.
like what is that, Eric? What
Well, I got it here in red on the spreadsheet because
oh, okay.
it looked real cool. It's some kind of medieval. I think they're trying to kind of do the if you think of like medieval scrolls, if you're thinking of like or books from like the medieval time,
Shakespearean kinda.
Yeah, it very, very much looks, or like wood carvings from that era or something. So we're talking about like, 500 years ago, and I think it takes place and I think it's like a point and click adventure. I think that's the gameplay. Maybe they said it's like a mystery story. You're trying to get into the the bottom of some kind of mystery that's going on in this medieval world. But yeah, it's like this it looks like you're in a scroll from like the 1500s or something, and just super super interesting, like you said, like just the art, hard to explain again if you don't know what I'm talking about, like a medieval scroll kind of like text. That's what it looked like, but moving, but like animated, that you're probably playing and moving the characters around.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if it was like one single village that you're kind of moving around and interacting with all the people in this town or whatever, and the passage of time seemed like you were changing characters even at times. So I was just more confused. People really reacted to that one on Twitter and stuff. It left me with my head scratching a little bit. I'm glad you were just as confused as I kind of.
Oh
at
yeah, yeah.
what's going on there?
But that'll be in November in Game Pass, so that's another one that like I'm interested in, and why not? Let's check it out. Like
we got to see Redfall gameplay. What did you guys think of that? Seeing it in action and stuff.
I want to play it. It looks cool.
Yeah, totally. I would like to team up with that
I'm excited.
when that comes out.
I think the coolest thing about it is the information that came out afterwards. Like the gameplay looked cool. I like arcane games, so it looked like an arcane game.
This is Arcane Austin, the Prey and Dishonored team. So it's like the A team.
Yeah, and it looked like, I mean, it looked really good, like from just like the combat and whatnot. The movement of the characters and the vampires and stuff like that.
I'm into the story too.
Yeah, exactly. We got a little bit more of the story and stuff. It's like they've somehow the vampires have like sectioned off an island essentially, and a cult has come up around the vampires and stuff, and
Midnight Massey.
Yeah. I thought the same thing. Like total kind of same concept. Being trapped on a little fishing island on the East Coast with all these vampires. But yeah, cool. The environments look cool. That whole
definitely
kind of amusement park area. It's going to be cool powers in the game, of course, stuff like that. I'm a little worried about the co-op. It seemed like the host that's their world carries over. So I don't know if you keep the same host, can you just kind of save everything you have in that host game or what? I need to know better the logistics of all that.
Right. They did say that it's made for like you can play solo or co-op and have kind of a good experience regardless. It's not like they specifically, I think, compared it to like Back 4 Blood and things of that nature, or Left 4 Dead. And said like, no, this isn't a game where like if you're only a solo player, you're getting 3 bots or whatever. Like, no, you can play it solo and have a full story and have a full kind of gameplay experience and stuff. And that's really what rang out to me. If like hopefully like the 3 of us can play or something, or whatever, just me and Kayla when we want to play, and it'll still make sense, and it'll still kind of be a good experience, as opposed to having to get bots or get people to play over the internet, which is always awful. Yeah, Redfall looks interesting. I think that showed really well. That's what they opened the show with, and I think that was a great way to kind of kick it off in a lot of ways.
They announced a new Minecraft game, Eric. They announced a couple RTS games at that show. What'd you think of those?
So the one that kind of Stormgate, I guess it's from some developers that kind of jumped off of the Blizzard ship, so they have some kind of pedigree with like StarCraft and Warcraft and stuff like that. Which, yeah, I love like StarCraft. It looked very similar. It at least they showed mostly a cinematic. But it felt very like, oh, these are like space. In fact, so much so it starts off with a woman kind of like excavating or something, and she's kind of in like some flashy like spacesuit armor and stuff. She looked a lot like a Ghost from like the StarCraft games. I was like, is this like the long the awaited StarCraft Ghost? But alas, no, it's Stormgate. That looked cool. Yeah, I have to. I've been holding this one. We're talking a lot about Kayla, to Kayla about this one. In September, we get 2 games. One's called There Is No Light, and one's called No Place for Bravery. I cannot tell these 2 games apart. They both seem to be inspired by I would say Hades. They very like look like grimdark, kind of like hack and slashy. One of them follows what looks to be like a Viking guy who's maybe trying to rescue his family. They mentioned something about family.
It's very pixely, isn't it? It's
both
like...
of them, yeah. Really pretty pixel art.
Cool.
And
where was
but
that?
they both. This was at the IGN Expo, and they showed them back to back, and. Gotcha. They're both coming out in September, and they both have very similar names, and I'm like, this is another Outer Wilds, Outer Worlds situation, because if these games are any good, they looked cool. They both looked like cool, kind of like Hades ripoffs, if you will. There is no light and no place for bravery, and at least one of them's probably going to be good.
Did you guys see all the bear games that are coming out?
I saw Bear and Breakfast. That was fun.
There's Bear and Breakfast, where you are a bear who runs a bed and breakfast. You're like building out an awesome bed and breakfast, I guess. There's Lumberjack, where you're a lumberjack bear.
Oh, okay.
And then there's it's called like Bear Chef or something, and you're just like a chef. Like, so another theme of the show is kind of all these like. A lot of bear games, a lot of frog games. Frog Gun looks like Mega Man Legends, but you play as like a character with a frog gun, and it's used as like to kill enemies and to like use as for platforming with a grappling hook and stuff. A lot of cute animal games. A lot of frogs, sheep, lamb, whatever.
Foxes.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of foxes, what was that game you really liked, Kayla?
Flintlock.
Mm-hmm.
That looks
cool.
cute. Mm-hmm. It reminded me of Kena. Like in Kena, you have like these little rats, and you collect them all, and they'll like go do stuff in fights too. And that's what this little fox looked like. It can help you in battle, help you cool. Travel and stuff like that.
That was at Xbox, right? Yeah, that was.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was lacking again. It has areas that can improve, but it was very pretty. It was short. I thought the story was cute. It has some combat that it can improve on. Visual
you mean Kena?
cues. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Kena was a good like first showing. No, I thought you were still talking about Flintlock, but then like
But I think that
just
this
comparing
looks similar and hopefully can improve
better
on those
version
things.
of Kena.
This is by Kepler, which I'm not familiar with.
Yeah, that logo was on a couple games. Yeah. I wasn't familiar with them either. Kepler, I think.
Kepler.
Yeah, Kepler. Yeah.
Disappointed with a couple things we didn't see.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Thought that GoldenEye prediction was going to be spot on. I thought we would definitely get an announcement for that.
There was something on the PC.
Oh, really?
Right, Eric? It was like the first thing they showed when we watched that PC thing.
A GoldenEye? Oh, it was like the Agent 64.
Yeah. That's like someone doing their own version of that. That looked whatever. I don't know.
It's fun to like rip off in such a blatant way.
I guess it was such a good rip. I thought it was it's just it.
Yeah, I thought we would see Banjo. Didn't see him. When I saw that for Cocoon, when it said like from the people behind Limbo and Inside, I'm like, oh shit! But it wasn't Playdead.
That looked interesting though,
looked
Cocoon. That looked
confusing to me. That looked like what? I you're just moving the sphere everywhere. Like I don't
that
know.
was like the real multiverse of madness because you're like going in and out of biomes of some
puzzles
kind.
within puzzle, like yeah, deeper and deeper kind of thing. If you watch that trailer, so that was kind of a disappointment. Like I would have rather seen Somerville again.
Yeah, we didn't get aside from I kind of teased it earlier. We got the official announcement of The Last of Us remake. So we're getting
Yeah.
a top to bottom kind of remake of the first Last of Us, now titled The Last of Us Part 1. My favorite game of all time. I'm only mildly kind of excited for this one.
Oh man, and it's your. I was gonna ask, are you guys gonna play this? But if that's your number one, and you're still not.
Yeah, I
down.
think it's just because like I've played it, you know, a ton already, multiple times. It is a game that like once you've experienced it or whatever, it's like I love it and everything else. I love talking about it. I love like I'm excited for the TV show and all of that. And I will play this remake, but it's not enough to I think when we saw that, I told Kayla, I said, you know, this looks cool, and we're gonna play it and everything else, and I'm excited to see it beautiful because they did the side by side shots and it looks really great. And they said they like fixed the AI, the enemy AI, and like the movements and everything. They've like really done a lot of work, but it disappoints me that it feels like this took precedence over what they just touched on just a little bit, the multiplayer game they're working on set in the universe, like which we're not getting we didn't get a release date, we didn't even get like a window,
we didn't even get multiple pictures. You got one picture,
right?
Yeah, I didn't appreciate Neil Druckmann coming out all salty and everything. It just seemed like they didn't even give a shit to announce this thing, and
it felt real, it felt real weird, and it just felt like kind of hollow to where I'm like, this is cool, but it means I'm not getting The Last of Us multiplayer anytime soon. It means I'm not getting a new Uncharted anytime soon.
Yeah, you're not getting the next Naughty Dog thing, really.
Right. You know.
I forgot, it did seem like they just kind of gave up on it, because there's even a time where Troy Baker, who came on stage, they showed something and he like seemed totally like, what the fuck? Nobody told me this. Like, oh, that's the first time I'm seeing it. I don't know anything about this.
Yeah, it was something, and it's unfortunate because I think Keighley really wanted that to be the big thing, and it leaked earlier in the day, and like you said, Neil Druckmann was salty, and it was just it felt very weird. But you know, I guess Troy and Ashley are going to be in the show now. That's something. That's kind of, I don't know, cool. I almost think it would have been cooler if that wasn't spoiled. Like if we were just watching the show and it's like, oh shit, that's fucking Troy Baker. Oh, that's Ashley Johnson. Like, cool.
Yeah. Last of Us 1 is becoming like the Street Fighter 2, like Hyper Edition, Tournament Edition. Like, it's just because. Well, we're gonna put the physics from Uncharted 3 into this now.
It does, yeah. It feels that way, and like, yeah, Street Fighter 2 is fucking great, and I'll play that all the time. But like, do I need 5 editions? Probably not. You know, like,
I'm interested to see how they integrate the way that The Last of Us 2 feels, because to me, The Last of Us 1 is a better story, and Last of Us 2 plays so much better than the first one. So if they can bring that over, I think it's worth it. People are being real pessimistic about this, but it's a popular game, man. Like, I don't know. They got the tech, they had the time in the studio to do it.
I think that they're very fun to play, and I do like to see the same stories over and over and over again. So
I'm in a tough spot. I'd like to replay it, but I'm not going to play that game around the kids. You know, the Game Fest showcase I watched with the kid, like some of the kids, and Greg was just really like, "Can I play this?" And I'm like, "No." I had to tell him no for so many games. Like, they were just showing like super violent sci-fi horror games,
yeah,
after one after another, and he wanted to play Call of Duty. I'm like, nah, man, sorry, can't let you.
Shredder's Revenge, though, he can play
Yeah,
that
he's
tomorrow.
he's psyched for that. He called dibs on Donnie. I'll let him be Donatello.
One other thing I wanted to, at least one other thing, let's say, it completely blew me away. We're not getting it till 2023. Supposedly in the next 12 months, but The Last Case of Benedict Fox. This is coming to Game Pass. This is at the Xbox showcase. It's like a HP Lovecraft. Looks to be like a Metroidvania, like a Hollow Knight. But set in like a turn of the century. You're like I don't know, just a dude who looks very like 1900, but has like dark cosmic powers, it looks like, and just the art style was really cool, and it just that they really did that thing that I like that Hollow Knight does and plays with like different shades of purple. Purple and black, basically, just like a palette of purple and black, and that's what this game did, and I thought it looked really cool. Kind of came out of nowhere, and just was like, oh yeah, this is something I'm now super anticipating. It almost in the same way that like Silksong. I'm like, oh man, this is like a really cool like double feature with Silksong almost.
It did look cool. Yeah, I remember that. Starfield, though, that's the elephant in the room. We haven't really talked about it too much.
Right? Yeah.
Finally
The
got to see
finale.
it. What'd you guys think? Kayla, what'd you think?
It looks very big.
Yeah.
It looks cool though. I'm here for it. I think they can do it. I know, like, people keep saying like, oh my god, 1,000 planets. I think they said you can go to 1,000 planets and explore. Well, I've played Elden Ring, and that bitch is massive. Why can't Bethesda do that? Of course they can. They always make giant games.
20% bigger than anything they've ever done, I think, is the number that they kind of said.
I think a lot of those planets, like, you're gonna have a mix of planets that don't have a lot going on, but when you do find a planet that does have, like, oh shit, there's pirates on this one, like, it's gonna feel more special. It's gonna feel, more warranted,
There's.
and like,
Do you think? Is there gonna be like full on ship? There is gonna be full on ship flying, battling. I remember now. They showed that.
I've heard mixed thing. I've heard like there's you're not actually flying until you get into space or something like that. You're not like piloting down to the surface, stuff like that. But yeah, definitely reminded me of the fucking gummy ships from Kingdom Hearts as soon as I saw that shipbuilder menu.
I do wonder how much of, because there's shipbuilding, there's
Base building.
like base building, right? How much that actually matters? Because like in like Fallout 4, as an example, you could build up your community and stuff, and I know you had a ton of fun doing that in Fallout 4, Kayla, but like it wasn't necessarily essential. You didn't have to. Like it gave you some benefits. It was definitely like a cool thing that you could do. You could get resources and stuff, and it was like a nice time waster. But you didn't have to do it. I wonder how much, like, in terms of like the shipbuilding, they've mentioned that like how you build your ship will affect its stats and stuff.
Yeah.
So that could get a little hairy if you like have to be a good shipbuilder to like survive out in space or something.
I like the creature design. I liked all the, robots, all the sci-fi stuff looked really cool. Even just like the changes from the HUD, like just the less HUD on it, like it looked real nice. All the UI stuff. The new engine, whatever they did, like looks good. The game looks really nice. Character faces and stuff don't have that kind of dead-eyed Bethesda thing that they've had for a while. Still, it's still a Bethesda game. You're still getting the close-ups, still exploring and shit and doing the same stuff, which I'm ready for another one of those. I didn't play any Fallout 76, really. I played a ton of Fallout 4, and that was kind of the last thing in that style of game. And this looked different enough for me to get excited for it.
Yeah, I mean, Skyrim's one of your favorite ever, Kayla. I know you spent
Mhm.
like a ton of time in Skyrim. Do you feel like you're probably gonna really dig into this one?
I think I will dig it. I don't see it being better than Skyrim in my opinion. I just like that the fantasy world more than I like space.
Did you
Sure.
guys hear the recent Bethesda news? Like Todd Howard came out and said, like, yeah, Starfield, and then
Elder
20 years
Scrolls
later,
6.
Elder
Yeah.
Scrolls, and then Fallout 5.
Yeah.
God.
Which I'm surprised by. I think people were expecting Obsidian to kind of maybe get the reins on another Fallout before Bethesda did, but
Well,
they're holding on to it.
you can tell Greg that he'll be about 30 and he can definitely play
Play
Fallout
by then.
5.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So, there you go. Um he could probably work on it, if he wants to get into development or something.
Yeah, by
Oh.
then it'll be.
Yeah, Skyrim was my first Bethesda game, then Fallout 4. Enjoyed the hell out of both of them. I like their storytelling. I like their mix of like kind of deep stuff, but also like a lot of humor and things like that. And I think like if you know what you're getting, like just going in, which I think I do, you won't be disappointed. I think that's the case. And my biggest thing is I hope that like the enemies and like creatures and stuff like that are as diverse as this one thing I really liked about Elden Ring most recently, because all I did in my mind was compare like Elden Ring to Breath of the Wild, and one of my biggest like criticisms of Breath of the Wild is kind of a lack of creature diversity or enemy diversity and stuff, and I think Elden Ring blew that out of the water in terms of that. Like you're just constantly meeting new creatures and everything else, and if you're going into space in Starfield and there's 1,000 worlds or whatever else, I want to see some wild stuff, and that's what they got to do to really wow me on that. But I think it's possible.
Yeah, I hope they can do like the BioWare thing and just create a cool sci-fi universe, create different races, characters, worlds, cultures, whatever. I hope they could do something cool with all that.
What would you say was your game of the summer? Game of the fest?
I think it's still RE4 for me. I'm super jazzed for that new remake. We only got to see little snippets of it, but it's so close. And Capcom's really good about hitting that early year for Resident Evil. They've done so many at that time slot. So, man, that I just want that. I want to see what they do with that. It looks really impressive.
Yeah. And I just trust them now. I mean, like Resident Evil 2 remake, Resident Evil 3 remake, Resident Evil 7 and 8. 8 was maybe the weakest out of, those last 4 games and still was really fun. Like if that's the worst that you're putting out in the last like 5 years, like they're just killing it right now. So, yeah, good call.
I had like a 2-part answer. Like if I had to pick one for the rest of the year, would be the Callisto Protocol.
Yeah.
But I think overall Silksong, but that's a ways out. So
Yeah, I mean Silksong for me too, and probably Plucky Squire. Those might be my 3.
Yeah, I think for me, High on Life, that blew me away. I love Rick and Morty, and it just seems like it's Rick and Morty the game. Like it seems like it's going to be like profane and violent and silly and probably thought provoking. I hope so in the ways that like Rick and Morty is, where it can get really really deep. Yeah, I think I also the Callisto Protocol. Also, I think like the fact that we're getting both of these this year, soon enough, October and December. We kind of mentioned it before. We're getting a really good horror kind of block here coming up with Callisto in December, Dead Space remake in January, and then RE4 remake in March. That
Scorn
could
too,
be
in October.
Yeah, and Scorn as well. Yeah, that's that's great.
Another one, and one we totally forgot about, and I don't want to forget about it. is Diablo 4. It really
Mm,
impressed me. I was so
thank
shocked
you.
to see it there. It looked so good. Like I just the gameplay they showed looks like wow, yeah,
It
that's a
looks
next
really
gen
cool.
Diablo open world. I didn't know it was going to be an open world thing. Did they announce that there? Was that known?
That was
Because
new to me. I don't
yeah,
think that was. Yeah.
wow, okay. Because that whole kind of hub design of Diablo, I've played a few Diablo likes now, and they're all kind of similar to that. You know, popping back into town, going to your mission, whatever. Gets kind of bland after a while. I'm excited to see that they're shaking things up with that. And Necromancer's back. You know, only five
Glasses.
classes in this, so keeping it lean, keeping it tight, which I think is for the best to keep just make it as balanced as possible. I guess.
Yeah, I love how much time they spent on it in the
A lot
Xbox
of fun.
Bethesda showcase. We got it might have been the thing that they showed the most of or the
That was a whole
longest of.
documentary about that game, and they talked about it for forever. Uh, and it was
Um,
all good stuff to me. I was really impressed.
yeah, yeah, it was that good call. I'm glad we could yeah finish on that one because
Well,
that was really impressive. Oh, you got one more.
I just want to
Bring
do
it.
one more to
Yeah.
mention the Plague Tale Requiem. Look, I'm excited about that too.
No,
That
good
looks
call.
wild. Like they're blowing that out like completely as far as what you're kind of doing in that game. They didn't really focus on any of the rat stuff at all in
Just
that
a little
trailer. It
bit,
still looked
yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
they're doing the
you're
right thing
killing
because
shit.
that first game was pretty lean. Like there was very little combat. It was very much like sneaking around and everything else. And as the characters are growing, because they were very like young kids in the first game, looks like they're especially the main character, the female main character, Amicia, I think is her name. Um, Seems like she's become kind of cold blooded, and her brother is kind of maybe trying to keep her off of a dark path kind of thing. And it's an age old tale, but it yeah look great. The first game was great. I think it was like I hope a lot of people played it. It seemed like enough played it to get a sequel, I guess, and worthy of a sequel and worthy of us talking about it. Good call. That's supposed to come out this year. We didn't get a release date, but that's a
Oh,
2022.
cool.
Yeah, and a Game Pass game
Yeah, straight to Game Pass. It was nice seeing that logo pop up all the time
all
during the.
over.
It's like a nice warm blanket.
Not to end on a downer, but I want to say something. So
Yeah.
in Xbox, Bethesda did an extended showcase, and as part of that, they actually finished their showcase with some updated information on Stalker 2, which was a game that's supposed to come out this year. That looked really awesome.
That
Really
lightning tech.
exciting.
Oh man, beautiful.
And they've pushed it to 2023. It still is set for a 2023 release date with Game Pass. But they released a dev diary. And they showed for about 3 minutes like what the developers are going through right now. They're in Ukraine. They were based in Ukraine. And I think it's really worth watching. It's on YouTube. Just look up Stalker 2 Dev Diary. It comes up. It's heartbreaking. It really is. It's
Oh, yeah.
super sad. To like what they're all going through and stuff. But I think it's really important for people to like when games get delayed and stuff like that. We don't. And this is an extreme circumstance, but like stuff like this happens all the time. Natural disasters, wars, people getting sick, yeah, COVID, all of this stuff, and like people get really upset with like game delays and stuff. And I think this like gives you a little bit of perspective. Like it definitely did for me. I was like, holy shit, these guys can release this game whenever they want because like what they're going through. So it's worth checking out. I think people should check it out. And if you feel like supporting Ukraine and stuff, go ahead and do that too. There's a little link in the video there too where you can kind of support Ukraine and stuff like that. So I feel like that should be said.
Still would love to play that whenever it comes out. Still psyched about that game.
Yeah, and they really talked about how excited they are to show because they said it's like part of their culture and stuff. Like it's showing their culture and everything else, and how that's more important than ever. So Stalker 2, maybe our game of the year 2023, hopefully.
Oh man, nice. It was really nice to see
Cool.
that Xbox graphic that they released with everything that's coming out 2022, ton of games. everything's supposed to come out in 2023. Ton of games, and a lot of that stuff was Game Pass first day. Um, Atomic Heart was on that list still for this year, I think. Which
2022, yeah.
Maybe not happening, but just nice to see some kind of heartbeat of that game. That looked really cool. Wish I could have changed some of my predictions to Xbox instead of Game Fest. I wish I hadn't put respect on Keely's name because the Persona stuff was at Xbox, not at Game Fest. A couple little things like that, but man, as far
Yeah.
as our first prediction season goes, I think we did very well. Proud of
We
us.
did well. We did well. For a
I
plucky
hope-
little bit of podcasters over here.
I hope Keely gets to
I'm done with Keely.
market.
Selling my stuff.
What's the word when you talk to people about work and such?
Network.
Network. He needs to network. He needs to be
Man, everyone's turtling up.
figuring some
No
shit
one-
out.
I
I
don't know.
I don't know.
There was just no game. Like Xbox had their stuff, and just not a lot of other real big stuff to have at his show. And I don't know. I think he.
But even
Should've
the small
had a plan
shows that
B.
you watched were great.
Yeah, but that's something completely. I go into that with a completely different mind frame than Summer Game Fest. You know, like if I would have seen a lot of the wholesome stuff there, I would have walked away. Kind of.
Hmm.
I don't think
Something.
Skate Story would have made me, be over the
Right.
moon on that show altogether because that show was just bad. It wasn't good. It was one of the worst ones I've seen in a long time. I
Yeah.
watched a lot of these things, and that one was like, man, wasted 2 hours. That's just a bummer. That's not what you want because after Xbox, you feel, oh man, I'm psyched for a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
I do
agree.
think, he's not a dummy, and I think, like, we're all sharing, like, the exact same feeling. Like, I think everyone who watched that was like, why is The Rock here? Why is a lot of this stuff going on? So I think, like, Keely knows how important this is to, like, his brand and what he's trying to do. So
he had to hold court. He had to do something. He had to hold his spot. Like he wants to be, the Pied Piper of games in the summertime and in the wintertime with the Game Awards. He just couldn't get the right stuff together to make it feel like it wasn't just bland shootery stuff. Nintendo couldn't even be bothered to give him anything but an ad, a Switch commercial, like which I see in YouTube ad breaks now. Like I see the exact same thing. Like, which rumor is from known Nintendo insider Alana Pierce, we're getting a direct at the end of the month on the 29th. So maybe
We'll
we get
see.
a Hollow Knight date at that show or something. I'm hoping
That'd be wonderful. We're also getting, before we wrap up here, tomorrow, so the 16th of June, probably when this podcast will go live, we're getting a 25th anniversary celebration of Final Fantasy VII, a 10-minute presentation. I've predicted it now at like 4 different shows, but this is the show that we're getting Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. We're getting it at this show tomorrow. Lock it in. Lock it in, folks.
I think you're right. I think you're going to see it. You're going to see it there.
No,
and I'm so happy for you. It's going to be 5 minutes of Final Fantasy VII, and it's going to be 5 minutes of Chrono Trigger Remake. It's going to be great.
Ooh.
We will see.
We will see. So that was our celebration of all of these showcases from the summer of gaming. It grew in my heart. My heart grew 3 sizes seeing that we're still getting games. We're still getting games in 2022 and even more in 2023.
If all those games stick with the 2023, there's going to be a game every week. Like there was just so many games with that year. And we've said this every year, man. 2021 is gonna be the bomb year for games. 2022 bomb, with all this COVID stuff. That just means all the great stuff's right around the corner. Maybe 2023 will be the time that we've prophesized, but I don't know.
Oh, so folks, stick right here with the Machine of Nonsense for the greatest year in gaming ever, 2023. And we'll be right there to recap it all. Episode 82 is in the books. We talked all about the summer gaming showcases. Join us on Facebook to join the conversation on Monstars, our Facebook fan group. We'd love to hear about your most anticipated games of 2022 and 2023. You can also leave us a voicemail at anchor.fm/machine of nonsense. We've got an Instagram that Kayla's on all the time, posting cool little graphics and stuff. Join us there as well. We got a Twitter too, but we barely use it. But hey, tweet at us. Do it.
Tweet.
I was your host, Eric. I still am. Joined as always by Kayla and Indie Mike. We're getting out of here, and we're saying goodbye.
Showcase Museum.